Well, hi, everybody, and welcome to Cleveland Cavaliers basketball. We are so excited to start the 2022-2023 season this evening from Toronto with the Cavs and the Toronto Raptors kicking off, or I should say tipping off the campaign just north of the border. I'm Brendan Gulick along with Jon Rudder, who's on site from Scotiabank Arena here this evening. It is the season opener, so we wanted to make sure we give you as best coverage as we could to open up the campaign. John, we just heard from JB Bickerstaff. While he said no comment when he was asked about it, Chris Fedor from Cleveland.com actually just put out a story that said Caris LeVert is going to be the starting small forward, that he won that job, and he'll be the starting small forward for the foreseeable future for the Cavs. So how about we just kind of start right off the bat with the biggest question in camp has now been answered. We know who the number 3 guy is going to be.
Yeah, and it's funny, too, because JB was literally just asked about that not 10 minutes ago, and I think he just likes fishing with us, right? Just pulling it back, and just reeling us in. Not really a particular big surprise there, considering the amount of minutes that Caris has got throughout the preseason so far. He's gotten 3 starts, and he's performed well. By all accounts, he's done everything that he could to solidify himself in that starting role. It looks like we finally have our Cavs starting 5 right now, so just because he has been named that starter, I don't think that takes really any minutes or a whole lot of minutes away from guys, like a Cedi Osman or like an Isaac Okoro, because depending on matchup situation and game time and score, I think we're going to see a lot of those guys in there at any given time.
Yeah, and we heard from Coach last week that he basically said, look, as long as I have, 3 of my 6 best players on the floor at a time, I can use different matchups. So I would expect that we're going to see a little bit of mixing and matching at some point early in the year. But I got to be honest, I'm pretty excited about the way Caris LeVert has looked. I'm excited about what we're hearing about him and the way his teammates feel about him. And the fact that, this starting 5 with 2 premier big men in Mobley and Allen and 2 guards that can be all-stars again this year, and Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland, if Caris can play like we think he's capable of, this absolutely could be one of the best starting 5s in the entire NBA.
Yeah, Nick Nurse actually talked about that a little bit in his pregame comments as well, saying, look, that backcourt's nothing to mess around with, and that he described it as Donovan Mitchell is a guy who makes 2 or 3 moves before he actually makes a move. Like he'll jab, he'll cross, and then next thing you know, he's going a different way. So that dynamic and what we've known that Donovan brings to this offense is going to just add different wrinkles that other teams are going to have to prepare for. And you just saw it right there with his pregame comments. Like, Donovan brings a specific element to this lineup that teams have to account for. His gravitational pull specifically makes it so that teams don't want to leave him. And that's going to inherently open up shots for Darius Garland, and the trickle-down effect is going to just kind of build down that lineup. And other guys are going to get more opportunities and other opportunities that they wouldn't normally have simply because Donovan Mitchell is out there on the floor.
So I know we posted our game day report earlier this morning before you had a chance to get over to shoot around. I know you talked to Kevin Love and got a feel for what shoot around was like today. Give us the vibe. What did you take in?
Pretty relaxed. It kind of seemed like Kevin was, just taking the opportunity to really relish this. This is his, 15th, 16th season, 15th season for Kevin. It was kind of as relaxed as ever. Shoot around on the road, I think, is maybe a little bit different than shoot around at home. Like, the guys were just kind of a little bit more relaxed. Donovan said that, he's going to go home, play some Xbox, take a little nap, get back here to the arena. But unfortunately for Guardians fans, he said that he was taking the Mets to their 3rd World Series. So a little disappointment there that he had something that he had to wrap up before he headed to the arena. But look, guys are loose. Guys were out there shooting around. We saw Evan and his brother. I posted a video, Evan and his brother doing a little 3-point shooting contest there from the corner. Jarrett was taking in some free throws, and he actually just about obliterated BJ Evans as he was sprinting off the floor. Jarrett's the guy who likes to run directly to the locker room once he's done with his pregame work. So BJ was right in the path of the train as Jarrett was headed off the floor. But look, the vibe's loose. These guys, I think, are just anxious and good anxious. They said, if you don't have nerves for this, what are you doing here, right? Like, this is something that you should be excited for. You should be a little nervous for. I think that they're anxious to kind of get out there and play against another team here tonight.
And I can't wait to see what this backcourt is going to look like in a game that counts. I remember asking both Donovan and Darius. And actually, I think I asked Harris too earlier this preseason about, frankly, just how hard it can be to like mentally ratchet it up for a game that you're just trying to get some work in and feel some things out, but doesn't really count. That's obviously not the case tonight, right? This is game one. It matters. So now that they've had a few opportunities to feel things out and try to figure out how this whole thing's going to work, what's it look like? And I think that's the point tonight that I'm most looking forward to. I get the impression that a lot of Cavs fans who maybe didn't tune into preseason games want to see the same kind of thing.
Yeah, and preseason, for better or worse, is kind of, I don't want to say boring, but it lacks a certain little zest that you might not that you don't get with a regular season game, point blank. I will say that Hawks game had a little bit more drama and a little bit more emotion to it, but you don't want to start talking about the proverbial switch that guys will flip. That we inherently run into in the preseason, where they're trying to get ramped up. They knew it was a preseason game, but at the same time that they knew that they were playing, the Hawks, and that this was, potential postseason matchup. They wanted to maybe make a little bit of a statement with even a preseason win. But look, throw the records out, throw whatever happened in the preseason out, where everybody is 0-0 tonight. This is one of 82, and I think that this is a very important one of 82. JB and Nick Nurse both talked about that pregame, and that, this is, you can expect maybe a 15-20 game runway, since that was the popular word that everybody liked to use on media day, for this team to maybe gel and come together. There is going to be a little bit more of that feeling out process for the Raptors and the Cavs. But at the same time, this is a matchup between two teams in the Eastern Conference that are going to be battling it out for a playoff spot. The Cavs went 3-1 against the Raptors last year and still finished, 4 spots behind. So while this is game one of the season, it certainly matters.
Tom joins the conversation. I think he might have jumped in right after we had said it. Who's the starting three? It's the question everybody wants to know.
It is number three. It is number three.
And it's going to be Karis LeVert, who will start at the 3 spot for the Cavs, not just tonight, but from what Chris Fedor at Cleveland.com is reporting for the foreseeable future. Any big keys to the game? Anything you're most interested to watch when you think about this matchup in particular?
I'm anxious to see Evan and Scotty, and particularly Evan and Jarrett. With regards to this lineup and the Raptors, we didn't get to see Evan and Jarrett together a whole lot against Toronto last year. In the 4 games, I think they were only available together once. So that inherently brings a little bit different look, and it opens some things up for the Cavs as far as personnel and groupings and stylistically that they want to do. We know that this team loves a lot of pick and roll. Those two factor in very heavily into that. So I think that that's going to be something to keep an eye on this evening, specifically with Evan. I didn't get a chance to ask him before the game. I was a little disappointed because I was wondering if he had a little extra juice for this one, because of how close that Rookie of the Year race was, specifically going down to the end. Fans in Cleveland weren't the only ones that thought that he might have gotten a little bit of a snub there. 15 points in terms of the margin for the voting. That is the closest in 19 years. So that just shows you how close of a race it was. Ultimately, Scotty Barnes ultimately coming away with it. But looking at his stats this morning, I mean, they were neck and neck. We're talking about tenths of points, tenths of rebounds. Scotty averaged 15.3 points a game. Evan was 15 points. Evan averaged 8.3 rebounds a game. Scotty averaged 7.7. The margin of error is very small there.
Yeah, it should be fun. I think that's definitely a fun matchup to watch. Frankly, the thing I'm most interested to see is how hot can the Cavs get from behind the arc early in the game. We saw a couple of stretches in the 4 preseason games where they shot it well in spurts, but admittedly, I didn't think they shot it as well in preseason from deep as I expect them to during the year. It sure would be nice if they could get off to a hotter start shooting the 3 ball and try to apply a little bit of pressure that way, because you know what you're going to get from them defensively. When they're clicking on all cylinders, I certainly think they can be a good offensive team. Can they be an elite offensive team? Time will tell. But they certainly hang their hat more on the defensive end of the floor. So it should be fun to see how this team comes out.
For what it's worth, also, JB did say that when they're ticking and they're executing as well as they should be an above average team when it comes to offensive efficiency and pace of play. So we saw that number lag down. Obviously, injuries played a big part of that going down the stretch last year. Everybody's healthy, full go. The only person really missing is Dylan Windler and Ricky Rubio. So all systems go here tonight.
Looking forward to it. The Cavs and Toronto Raptors tipping off. I know the game is officially supposed to start at 7:30, but I think on the pregame tip sheet it was more like 7:44. So if you have an extended line at the concession stand at home, or you're making something or whatever you're doing, you're probably not going to miss the opening tip if you're a couple minutes late. I don't know what's going to take them an extra 14 minutes, but that's just me.
Now, in the words of John Michael, sit back, crack open your favorite Canadian beverage,
right.
and enjoy a little Cavaliers basketball from north of the border.
We are looking forward to not only getting tonight started, but getting the season started as well. We'll do this post-game too, folks, and we'll give you our reaction to what we learned tonight as the Cavs and Raptors open the 2022-2023 season. Jon Rudder's on site. I'm at home. We're looking forward to seeing you guys post-game as well. If you didn't catch JB's press conference, that's available over on our YouTube channel, and we will also stream his post-game press conference and hear from a couple players at the end of the night as well. For Jon Rudder, I'm Brendan Gulick. Thanks for hanging out. Good luck to the Cavs tonight as they open up the year, and we'll see you again real soon.